I had always been drawn to antique shops, with their promise of hidden treasures and relics from the past. So, when I stumbled upon an old store nestled in a forgotten corner of the city, I couldn't resist the urge to explore. The shop's windows were dusty and faded, but they revealed an assortment of curiosities: ornate furniture, vintage clothing, and shelves filled with tarnished trinkets. One item in particular captured my attention: a massive, ornate mirror that stood in the corner of the dimly lit room. It was an imposing antique piece, the frame intricately carved with twisted figures and intricate patterns. The glass itself was clouded with age, yet it held an eerie allure. The shop's proprietor, a frail, elderly man with a pronounced hunch, noticed my fascination with the mirror and approached me with a knowing smile. "Ah, that mirror, young one," he rasped, his voice tinged with an air of foreboding. "It's quite a unique piece. Some say it's cursed, you know." Intrigued by the idea of owning such an enigmatic item, I engaged in a brief negotiation with the shopkeeper, and soon enough found myself lugging the mirror through the winding streets to my modest apartment. It was an endeavor, but the mirror was a prized possession, an antique treasure that I believed would make my home truly unique. As I installed the mirror in my living room, I couldn't help but feel a sense of trepidation. It wasn't just its aged appearance that unsettled me. It was the way it seemed to draw you in, as though it held secrets beyond its tarnished glass. The first night with the mirror in my apartment was restless. I awoke to the sensation of being watched, a presence in the room that I couldn't quite place. The mirror, bathed in the pale moonlight that streamed through the window, seemed to shimmer with an ethereal glow. My reflection stared back at me, but something was off. It was not my face, but rather a twisted, grotesque version of myself, its eyes hollow and malevolent. Dismissing it as a trick of the light, I tried to settle back into sleep, but an oppressive feeling of dread lingered. Night after night my sleep grew more disturbed, the sensation of being watched intensifying. I would wake to find my reflection warped into a nightmarish visage, a grinning, sinister doppelganger. The mirror began to exert a sinister fascination on me. My days were filled with a constant pull towards it, an irresistible urge to gaze into the twisted glass, as though some malevolent force was drawing me in. Each time I stood before it, I could feel the dark presence lurking on the other side, just beyond the reflective surface. One evening, I decided to confront the mirror. I stood before it, staring into its distorted depths, my reflection twisting into something monstrous. It whispered words in a language I couldn't understand, and a chill ran down my spine. Panic coursed through my veins, and I tore myself away from the mirror, vowing to have it removed from my home. I contacted a local antique expert to assess the mirror, hoping to sell it and rid myself of its menacing influence. The expert examined the piece, his face growing pale as he studied the intricate carvings and the glass that held untold horrors. "You should get rid of this mirror," he said with a sense of urgency. "It's cursed, and its malevolent energy could bring nothing but despair." My determination to part with the mirror deepened, and I found a buyer who was willing to take it off my hands. The day the mirror was to be removed, I couldn't help but feel a sense of liberation. As the workers struggled to lift the heavy antique, I watched with a mix of relief and anxiety. But as the mirror was being carried out, something unthinkable happened. It shattered into pieces, the glass splintering with a deafening crash. My reflection in the shards was not of my own face, but of something monstrous, something that laughed and taunted me, a grotesque version of myself that I could not escape. The shards lay scattered on the floor, mocking me with their malevolent reflections. I was trapped in the fractured glass, and the darkness beyond the shards drew me in. My world became a distorted nightmare, a never-ending reflection of terror. Now, I am a prisoner within the mirror, and my only hope is that someone someday will release me from this cursed glass, lest they too become ensnared by the demon in the mirror.